Body, and thank you for joining. Hey, Auntie.
Hi, welcome to Hey Auntie. We're going to start by introducing ourselves with, of course, your name, your age, and your beverage of choice. I will begin. I'll start first. My name is Naya. I am 31. And this giant cup right here is water. Okay? Hey, Auntie Kira.
My name is Kara. I represent, I have no niece and nephew, but I'm the mid-20s. I'm 25. I'll be 26 in January. And my beverage of choice is sparkling ice water today. Let's get past it to Sheree.
Hey, Auntie, I'm Sheree, and I am 58, and my beverage is water. And I'm passing. That's right. And I'm passing it to Crystal.
Hey, y'all. My name is Crystal, and I am 59, Lisa.
You let her know.
And my beverage today is I'm with you guys, and I'm having water. Now, next time I participate, I may have something a little bit stronger, but I'm just letting you know.
Usually I do have something stronger, but I was water today.
Okay. So, hey, Auntie, I'm passing it to Chaplain Lee.
Hey, Auntie. I am Tony. I am 54. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm getting up there. 54. Is that all I need to say? Oh, my beverage of choice is water, but it's designed in a little nicer.
Okay. Pass it on.
Hey, Auntie Shaquella.
Hey, Auntie. So I'm Shaquella. I'm only 35, right?
Oh
I feel old. I really do.
You just made me feel old.
My body does. And my beverage of choice is water because I'm dehydrated today. So we're just gonna stay with water.
We're all in sync. I love it.
I love that. Yes. Okay. I didn't do it.
Have some water. You better got some water.
My name is Elisa. I am 57. And my beverage of choice in my very purple cup with my name on it is a pineapple smoothie. So I've got some pineapple, some spinach, and some ginger in here to wake me up for this family gathering later.
Good job.
Yay! All right. So our topic today, and I always like to say how we pick the topic. Sometimes people are like, well, how did you come up with that? So we have an innocent bystander, my husband, who will go through all the topics. We have them all written down on cue cards, and he will blindly pick out something. And then Naya and I will always talk before the beginning of the recording, and we'll say, hey, who's in the group and what are the topics? And this one was perfect. So all to say that this was not planned. So and I love it. And every time we do it, it's always a really good topic. So today's topic is co-parenting and blended families.
Oh.
Okay, Shaquella. And the funny thing, I thought about Shaquella mostly because of your daughters. But then I was like, oh no, she's double blended family. So she's got a lot to say. So I'll start because I am in a blended family on both sides. As you all know, remarried, and Gene has kids, and he's got 5 of them, but 3 of them live here in Las Vegas. And it's not been easy going through being blended family, but it's getting better. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It's getting better. But let me tell you, at one point in time, in the very beginning of it all, I was like, yo, Jesus, stay right there 1 minute. I ain't got time for this. Okay. But all to say that I know God was using me and challenging me and making me stretch and grow through all of this anyway. Now, there are some times there are some things I probably could have done better, but I'm still striving to do better. So that's on that side. Blended family on the other side with Naya's father. That's another blended side. Right? I'll let Naya talk about it, but I think that's coming along nicely as well. Miracles do happen where we can all be together. No fussing, no fighting, no arguing, no attitudes. Like we just all had a really decent good time. I think so. Like Kira was there and Naya was there, and I think we all had a really pretty decent time, and we talked. Everybody talked. It wasn't like you stay over there and I stay over here. No, the significant others for everybody was just talking. So it can happen. It sometimes it takes a little longer to happen, and or you just got to wait it out. I'm going to pass it over. I want to pass it to Shaquilla because I know she's got it from both ends. So tell us about your co-parenting and blended family thoughts.
Yeah. So my thoughts initially, I guess off the top of my head, would be that it just needs to be intentional. Like, first and foremost, I think a lot of people go into blended families and co-parenting thinking, oh, it's going to be fine because I'm connected to somebody. So like whether that was in my case, like my mom and my stepfather, we're getting married, so it's going to be fine. We're connected. Or like in my case with the girls, we're connected by our kids, so it's going to be dandy. And that's not necessarily the case. And so I think a lot of it fails because it's just not intentional. It's not thought out. And people just don't go into it being receptive and showing empathy per se. But it does not mean it's not possible. It just takes intentionality.
Right. And consistency.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can't be chill 1 minute and then the next time you see each other, oh, I don't like you, or you mad at something from yesteryear again.
Correct. Let's pass it on to Naya.
Hi, Shuki. Okay, so I'm not a parent, so I can't speak to that part. However, blended families, there's something else to say. I think that, okay, initially, I feel like, before I had a blended family, I never thought I would have a blended family. And then when the idea or the reality of possibly having a blended family came to my acknowledgement, I was not with it. I was like, what is this new dynamic? I don't want to be a part of it. It wasn't me, so I don't want no parts, kind of like, this has nothing to do with me. But over time, I think that now I look at my blended family and I actually love my blended family. I think that they keep me on my toes. They keep me counseling. I tell them, I'm going to send you all a bill. However, and I don't counsel, but I'm forced to somehow, some way. But I think that I love my blended family because everyone kind of like meshes, like has their own identity. And then, of course, as mommy was saying, like, the coming together initially, or maybe all kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen because past, maybe I used to say that we needed to be on a reality TV show. Now our life is not boring, it's peaceful. So we wouldn't probably make it far on the reality TV show. But like what she was saying, we just worked together in June, beginning of the summer. And we had a really good time together. It was like nice to see everybody together and everyone coming from different places, across the country to come together for that purpose. So I really actually love my blended family for sure. I think that I can go with what Shaquilla said. It's definitely about intentionality because, and I think you can't get there until you like look within first. So like if you're having issues with your blended family or a person, and it doesn't have to be, of course, family oriented. It could be friends, whatever. You have to look internal first. And I will say that's one thing that started the process for me to accept was just understanding as I matured. My parents did the best they could. They did the best they could with what they got. And I can't be mad at how things turned out, or I can't put blame on them about how I turned out when I'm like, being a sad cat, saying. But I feel like the lessons that they learned, or what I was able to learn from them, has created me to be who I am now, and I'm proud of who I am now. Which that process started of like, okay, I have to have empathy, and I have to have real compassion for them in regards to what they went through, what they were going through. I'm the firstborn of my family, so I'm the first child, period. So I was like the oops baby, everything. Like, ooh, that didn't work out. Ooh, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, I was the testing one, the test pretty big. But I will say that I've learned a lot from watching. I've learned a lot within myself, and I really am grateful for it because it has allowed me to then love and have compassion for those in my family, blended, pre-blended, not blended. And actually, I always say I wanted a large family, but we don't have much of a large family. But now I have a large family because all parts are blended. So,
before you pass it on, Naya, I saw something the other day, and actually I've seen it a couple of times on, I don't know, IG or something, and it said, be gentle to your parents because this is the first time they're doing whatever it is that they're doing. Like, there's no manual to raise a child. I mean, technically, right? I mean, we can go biblically, yes, but there's no manual on how to be an adult. Or how to go through whatever you're going through. So I sent it to Naya and Nigel, be gentle on me because I've never been here before. So I might make mistakes with whatever it is. So, all right, go ahead, pass it on now.
That was actually the epiphany that I had. And from that epiphany, I feel like that is what has helped me to like accept certain things and move on from certain things. And here we are now where I have great relationships with all parts of my family. So that was the beginning. Okay, Auntie. Right.
Okay. It's a lot of blended.
This one, y'all.
It's a lot of blended because my father and my mother never married, and then my father married someone else. They had a lot of kids, so we blended. I blended with them. The rest of my siblings kind of didn't. And then I have children, and my husband came in with my children, kind of blended. And so now I'm married again. I've been married three times. Don't judge me. And so those, so there's adult kids because my husband is several years older than me. So he has adult kids. And so we had to blend, and the blend didn't go really well with the two sets because he had two different wives with kids. And so one wife I met, respectful, we're both Geminis, cool, everything, I'd invite her to my house, whatever. The other wife, oh, that's right, people gonna see this, right? The other kids, they were the son really was kind of like standoffish. And then when I finally saw the mother, it wasn't an introduction. My husband spoke to the mother, and then I spoke, and she did turn her whole body around from me. And I'm like, oh my, is that what we do to the new wives? Like, really? And so I go down to the son's house because he always wants to have stuff there. And hey, how you doing? She doesn't speak. When she leaves, she says, bye, Sheree. That's all. And so he wants his kids, like, these are my kids. And all right. So I usually spend a lot of time with my kids. I have a really good relationship with my kids. And so they wanted to have this surprise party. And the son wanted to bring his mother. And I said, absolutely not. No, she cannot. There's two sets of kids. And their mother's not coming. Why is she coming? And no, you're not going to make everybody uncomfortable. Like, we have to have a peaceful party for this man because he, had a new year. And so I like the fact that you said it has to be intentional. Like, I try, but it has to be both ways. And if you're not willing to give your part, then, like, I don't understand why you even would want to come to my house when you don't speak to me. Like, did you want to bring your messiness here or something? Because we don't do messy. So I've built relationships with the other kids and their mom, and it's really great. That one, I still feel kind of odd sometimes, especially if I go down there. So I try not to go down there too often because I do feel odd when I go down there. Like, I'm the odd man out, and but they want you to come. They want you to come, but I feel weird. And then with my father's kids, my siblings, we have a good relationship, and I try to make sure that because I'm the firstborn. And so I try to make sure that I'm there and supportive, but sometimes it can be really messy, and it can downright just be kind of depressing for a person when you're in these relationships and people don't want to do, their part in a relationship. Yeah. So
that's I like it. We don't do messy. Yeah, we don't do messy. Jean's daughter is the baby, and she's not gotten acclimated to me. It's been very difficult with her, though I have tried. And then again, for me, I just got to the part of, you know what, I'm not trying no more. And when we moved, like she was under our roof for a little bit, and then they came of age and they got their own apartment. The brother and the son, the brother and the daughter, they got their own apartment, and Gina and I also moved into our own house. I haven't seen her in over a year and some change. So today's family event, she will possibly be there. So it'll be the first time that I'll see her. So everybody pray for me, please. There's a little anxiety, which why should I have it? I'm like, you're a kid. I mean, she's 21 or whatever, but a little anxiety still, because I don't do drama. I don't do drama. I don't do messy, because when I do messy, it's not good. It's really not good.
I'm gonna let God fix it, because if I fix it, I'm going to jail.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Going to
So it's gonna be, I don't need another one of those Jesus, you stay right there moments. Okay. I've had too many of them and I don't want them. I'd rather say, Jesus, come on, help me get through this, and may the light of the Lord shine somehow through this face that doesn't hold expressions very well.
Together.
Exactly.
Yep.
Anyway, Sheree, go ahead. Pass on to whoever you'd like, please.
I'm gonna pass it on. Hey, Auntie, to Chaplain Lee.
Hi. I don't have any children, but I do have experience with the whole idea of blended family. My father had 2 children before my parents were married, and then he had 2 children after they divorced. I think because I've never lived under the same house, I think that makes a big difference. And the other piece is that there's like almost 20 years difference between myself and my younger brother and sister. I agree with what everyone has said thus far. I think that it does take intentionality. Like right now, my dad passed from COVID, and my little brother, it is like a struggle to stay connected with him, but I'm being intentional. I'm like, I'm going to get on your nerves. I need you in my life. How come you haven't called me? My younger sister, his sister, we're great. Not a problem. My older brother and sister, they're in different countries. My older brother's in Canada, and my older sister is in Jamaica. So all of those things, I think those are the dynamics. One of the things I think personally that's important is the whole concept of saying, this is my half sister, or this is my half brother. I don't think that's the best practice. I think that puts some type of boundaries, if that makes sense. And I appreciate what Auntie Sheree said, because she knows the limits. And really, because that's what it is. It's about the limits, that sometimes healthy limits, right? I think that's important. Even what you said, Auntie A, you said, I don't want, Jesus, come aside. That's all about the healthy boundaries that we have to set. So I'm going to pass it on to Auntie Kyra.
Kira, but thank you.
Kira.
It's okay. Sorry. I don't have any kids either. But I've experienced blended families from, I guess I could say both sides of my family. Well, my mom's side was, my uncle and his new partner, and my cousin Aiden coming along. That was a new experience as well, because, when you've been around people for a long time and then like it's a sudden change, it is hard to acclimate to. I'm not gonna lie, and it was a surprise. So yeah, getting acclimated to that, learning somebody new, learning like, say, yo, this is my family now. Like, okay, like seeing my family events like Thanksgiving, Christmas, like remembering their birthday, those type of things. Getting used to that. I could say, like Naya said, now it's become more balanced for sure. At first, it definitely was difficult, I would say, for all parts of the family at that point, because it's just like, what's going on here?
Because you missed me. That's why. You can say it. I won't edit it out either. No.
So how do we navigate?
Yeah.
We did navigate it, and we had to navigate it, how to navigate it the way we navigated. You know, we had to figure it out. But once we figured it out, it's all good, peaceful now. Like they said back in June, we had a good time. I ain't gonna lie, that was a good time we had together. You know, coming together, enjoying family time. You know, I would like to have more of that stuff. You know, it's especially hard because a lot of us, we all live across state. Like, you know, you got aunt in Vegas, cousin in Florida, me up here, and I up here, stuff like that. So we try our best, you know, to get together with family and stuff like that. On my father's side, that's a funny story. So my dad does not have any kids. I'm the only child on both my mom and dad. So, but my dad and my mom, they were never together. But my dad did remarry when I was in I want to say going into my senior year of high school. He remarried. So I'm going to say that's 2016. He did remarry to a lady that I come to find out she was around the entire time, unbeknownst to me. And once I started hearing stories click together, like, oh, I met you when you was 4, but I never seen you a day in my life. It's like 2 + 2 is not giving 4; it's giving 6, and I need to figure out why. So, yeah, I would say me and his wife. I guess I'm cordial. I'm respectful. I'm not going out here saying, yeah, that's my stepmom. Like, you will never hear me say that out of my mouth. I'm sorry, respectfully. Just certain intentions I picked up from her. And what I feel about that marriage, I don't feel like it's for the right reasons, but that's not my business. It's between them and God. But I say hi, you know, I'll hang out with them every once in a while. But as far as like, you know, bonding, like how I do with my mom's side family, it's not much there. It doesn't really bother me that it's not there either, because it's just like, I guess how I found out about her and how this all came about is just like, wow, you have some really sick intentions, like stuff like that. So and people who, if you ask anybody about me, they know I'm all about like intentions. Like, I pick up on vibes very quick. So if I don't like a vibe, I'm So yeah, I mean, it's all about intentionality. Like everybody's saying, like intentionality, like what you want to bring to the table. If you're not bringing things to the table that you feel is beneficial for you, and you're not thinking about everybody else, you know, things of that nature. But hey, Auntie. Yeah, pass the crystal.
All righty, I got you. I receive you. I guess since I am the oldest, not by much, but I want to say, let me just give my background. I did not birth any children. So I have a bonus daughter and a bonus son, who are adults. The bonus son is not really in our life. The bonus daughter, she's 27 right now. So when I got to become a bonus mom, she was 12. Okay, so at that time, my experience was not really. I was told by a friend, basically the advice that my friend gave me was, she has a mother. So just step back and let it evolve. Okay. And I thought that was the best advice that could be given to me, even though I believe at the time my husband expected me to kind of take over some of that role. But it was good to just lean back and let the relationship develop into what it developed into. And I think right now we have a very good relationship. We talk, and we're actually talking about things at the age in which she's at right now. And I just treat her as if she is an adult, and I try to advise her accordingly. The interesting part in this conversation I find is the blended family part. And the reason I brought my age in is because I'm coming from the perspective of watching Doris Day movies, watching all these family movies back in the day, and how everybody got along and loved each other. And I had an episode within my family. My mom and dad are still alive. And it hit the stage in terms of the acceptance of my husband and how he was feeling being a part of my family. And I was surprised because I expected, wait a minute, I've seen us get along with families and people come in, and why is there such a friction? Why is there such a seems like you can't accept. That's how it was coming across. And it took me a long while to admit that this was happening and that what my husband was feeling was for real. You know, and to receive the fact that he was hurt because he felt like he wasn't a part of the family, that he was outside of my unit, and given that I'm an only child as well. So still dealing with that because it put a push between my father and I. So when you talk about intention, that really was important, because intention and boundaries. Because the intention part is that I had to look within myself, accept that my partner was feeling a certain way and receive what he was feeling, and then acknowledge that my parents, although they may have had good intentions, they may not have known or been capable of knowing what to do and how to act, and give them some compassion, but at the same time voice what was actually happening.
Right.
So we haven't gotten to that point right now where I've actually had that conversation with my father, and it's been several years. And it's at the point where I know I've gone through the anger, I've gone through the disappointment, I've gone through shame, and I'm now at the point where I just have to accept it, go ahead, establish with intent the relationship with my father, express what I have to say, and just accept whatever it is. You know, if it may never be the hunky-dory, the great Doris Day, Cary Grant, it may never ever be that way. Just accept it for what it is. So it's a different aspect of the blended part. You know, when you're coming in from, you know, you've got outside families, but then now you've got issues with parents and receiving somebody new in the fold.
Right.
You know, so
it's interesting you say that, Chris, because I wasn't even thinking about it from that aspect. I kept thinking, you know, children, you know, separated couple, and now blending that way. I wasn't even thinking about it in that way. So that's a different perspective. So when we talk about boundaries, intention, and intentionality, I like that word. I'm gonna start saying it a lot now. Intentionality. I think I'm smart, guys.
No reason.
You know, intentionality. What does that look like to you? Anybody can jump in here. What does intentionality look like to you, or boundaries? Go ahead, Naya.
So I wanted to first say, Crystal, let me encourage you, because there was a time, though it may have been rooted from different things, there was a time that I did not give two kumquats about my father. I did not care to talk to him. I did not care. And I knew he was hurt by it, but I didn't care so much that I did not care. And, you know, we didn't have a relationship really. And if you would have told me then, oh, we were going to have a relationship we have now, I would have never believed you whatsoever. So it does take time, but you do your part. You trust the process and do your part. And as you're doing your part, trust and believe God is working on his part as well. So you just do your part, whatever that looks like for you, you know, in the capacity you can. I'm not saying, you know, do the most, maybe that's not hard, but baby steps. So you do your part and let the rest, you know, take place and take course as it should be, because your intention, of course, is going to be peace. So maybe you guys won't be talking every day on the phone and, you know, hunky-dory as you called it, but it'll be peaceful at least. You know, you won't have you'll just have peace between both you and him, and everyone will be peaceful about it. What it looks like is only tailored to you, but do not think short of the hunky-dory and talking every day. God knows my father told me about 17 times a day, and I'm like, please get off my phone. But I would have never thought that would have been a thing at all. So I just wanted to say that part in regards to like intentionality and boundaries. Not more, in my case, not boundaries so much, but more intentionality, because the boundary that I set was a hard Trump wall. Like it was, there's you're not getting in here. And I don't care how you think you are, but you're not. But jokes on me.
Thank you.
Okay, question. How did that change, Naya? When did do you know when it changed? When the wall came down, it just
people who are aware of what it was before and what it is now, they'll ask me all the time. And I cannot tell you, there wasn't like a moment at all. It was just like, oh, I really talked to my dad today. Oh, I really talked to my dad 3 times today. Oh, he really calling me. Oh, we really laughing on the phone. We were on the phone for 2 hours. Whoa. So I don't know. There was no, at least the
aha moment.
Yeah, there was no like, this is the turning point of the situation. No, it just was kind of like a overnight thing. Granted, like in the time, in the situation, it didn't feel overnight. But at the point where it got to such a high, I'm like, wait a second, I can remember not caring to talk to you. I can remember not talking to you at all. So I can't give you a specific time. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Michelle says, do you want to?
Yay! Okay, so we have to start over just a little bit, Michelle. We'll catch you up. You have to do your intro because not everybody knows who you are. And so Michelle is my daughter also, just from another mother.
Let's try it again and go.
My name is Michelle. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Michelle. I'm 30. I am currently living in Denver. And my drink of choice today is a Manhattan.
Okay.
And I don't have kids, so I don't know how much I'll be able to contribute to this, but
No, but have a blended family.
Family, yes.
sure. Sure, yeah, sure.
Maybe it's not blended. Maybe it's being
That's the trying to be blended.
It's like oil and water.
Okay, give us the breakdown. Tell us what the issue, where the issue is.
Okay, well, so my mom's single mom, raised 2 kids, and my dad was like never in the picture. He moved somewhere else and he had 4 other kids with a new wife. And I never met them until I was 19. So I'm like practically a grown adult meeting them. They're all younger than me. I mean, obviously. They're all younger than me. The youngest one at the time was like, oh my gosh, like 10 years old. So I was just like, hi, bye, you know, but I do, even though I didn't grow up with them, and I feel like that's what makes you, like, if that's your sibling, that's your sibling. I do consider them my half siblings now, because I care about them a lot, but you know, like, we weren't raised together, so it wasn't blended. It was just they were over there, I was over here, you know. Yeah, so I try to keep in touch with them now, but now they're all growing up, and oh Lord, it's a whole thing.
So it's happening slowly but surely. So now, before you didn't consider them a sibling, so now that at least they're half sibling.
Yeah,
maybe at one point they'll be the bonus sibling or just sibling.
Yeah,
maybe.
like when people ask me how many siblings I have, I always tell them, like, I'll say, oh, I grew up with my sister, but I have 4 additional half siblings. Like I'll mention them now. I include them, you know what I mean? Because hey, we are trauma bonded by our father, so how can I not include them?
Right.
You know,
because they know what you're feeling.
Right, exactly.
Progress is progress. So now
Right.
they're things, and maybe you'll be blended later on. Like I just told Crystal, you never know.
Yeah, and like the oldest one of them, we're only 3 years apart in age, so we've gotten really close, like, as she's grown up, and like that's my sister. That's my little sister. you know. And but it's more so because she's an adult, so we can like choose to have our own relationship,
Right.
whereas the other ones are still under 18 or like under 20, so it's a little bit harder, you know, like they're teenagers going through their own stuff. But when you're an adult, you can choose to have a relationship or not, you know what I mean? So we like choose to stay in touch, and we went on a trip to Florida together one time.
Nice.
So yeah, so definitely like make the effort to be included in each other's lives, you know. Gotta make that effort.
I have a question. Thanks, Michelle. I have a question for Shaquilla.
Yeah.
Because that was blending. That was a lot of blending there. How was that, if you remember, how was it in the beginning being blended with the other two? And then how's your relationship now? I'm not going to count Hannah and Jonah. Not Jonah.
Judah. Yeah.
Judah. I knew it was a J. I'm not going to count them. I'm going to count the other two, Imani and
Elijah. Yeah. And Alan, all of it. Yeah. That's fine. And you don't have to edit this. Because it is what it is. It's the truth, right? And I was actually thinking about it when, you know, Michelle was talking, and I was like, I'm wondering if a lot of the reason why we have difficulty with blended families is because, you know, back in the day, we had a lot more, and these things still happened, just not at the rate that they're happening. I feel like now, like people have like, I can speak for my dad. There's like between 11 and 13 of us on my biological dad's side.
Oh, wow.
And we see that in statistics that it's happening a lot more. And so if we're having the expectation of what this definition of family was from the past and putting it now into the present, where blended families are so common here. So we want the role to be like, this is your brother, this is your sister, this is your mom, your dad, your grandma, grandpa, respect them, be family with them. But it doesn't count, and it doesn't work in the same context as this new family system that we have nowadays. Because I could imagine, you know, for me, I know also the weight of having to be like, is this my step sibling, my half sibling, just because somebody got married? And having to be like, well, now we're family because you said so. And it, you know, at first it was that like fantasy of, ooh, look, there's a wedding and everybody's getting married. But that died down as soon as the wedding was over. It was rough. I mean, it's still rough. I will say, unfortunately, like, I don't know if my blended family is like the, you know, the model of what it should have been. You know, there was a lot of things that happened behind closed doors, and like the hierarchy of things where it was just like mother, father, this, that, like that was really uncomfortable for us as kids, you know, having to like go from like, you know, and my story, they met in church. So having to go from this random man at church that I see to now I'm calling you my dad. Now you're disciplining me, and you're just the man from church. And now we live together, and I can't walk into my mom's room because you live here with my mom, but this is my mom, and I used to share a bed with her. And this was never explained to any of us. It wasn't something that, and that's where I get the word intentionality from, of saying we have these kids all under 8. There was 4 of us. How do we make this work? But I will say, despite the dynamics of the parenting, I feel like the siblings bonded together from that shared trauma. That we had. Yeah, it was that trauma bond that we were like, well, we're gonna make the best of this, and if we're gonna play, we're gonna play. We hate each other, but we love each other, and we're gonna stick together through it all. But unfortunately, how this plays out when it's not intentional, you know, when my mom passed away, so did the family, because it was the only thing keeping it together. And so our siblings have those one-off, you know, connections with each other, because we grew up and we were close, but it doesn't last if it's not something that is intentional. And that's why I try to be very intentional with my girls and their dad.
Yeah, so I've been called the bonus mom, and I have a bonus daughter, and that's the one who I met her actual mother and we bonded. And I would encourage my husband to do a little more because she said my father really isn't around. And I'm all about my family, my kids. We've had a lot of trauma, and I try to make sure that they're good, and I apologize for things, you know. And he's started to apologize. But when somebody has not healed and you give this apology either via text or, you know, not really face to face, it becomes hard. And so I witnessed yesterday the interaction between him and the daughter, and it was like, I'm trying to tell him, listen, this is your daughter, because I know the feeling. My father had 6 kids by his wife. He already had me, then a daughter, then my brother, and then, you know, he went on and married somebody else, and my mother had other kids by, you know, someone. And so I kept relationships going. I built relationships with the siblings that I had because they were all young. And I tried to have a relationship with his wife, but there was just something that wasn't right with her. It was always, always felt like a competition. And when she died, I still continue because I talk to some of the siblings more than the others. I'll send text messages. I'm checking on you. How are you doing or whatever. We have a good relationship. And I'm telling my husband, you know, I see a lot of your daughter in me because of what I've gone through with my dad. Like, you know, why don't you do something with her? Why don't you go hang out? She's only 2.5 hours away. Drive over there to where she's, take her out to eat and do. Oh yeah, you know. But then you run down to the other town where your sons are and you hang out with your sons. Daughters need love too. Of our father. We want to know that our father, because my father now, I wanted a relationship, like desperately wanted a relationship with him. And I would reach out. And when I was living in Buffalo at one time, we were spending time together, and then a wife would call and where is he at? And this, and I said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore. You just deal with your wife. And so he didn't really understand until recently when we started this Hey Auntie. And it's like, let me share, what is that when you give your flowers now? And I said to him, you know, he sent me a message or whatever. And I was like, he called me and he said, you know, I want to make sure people are not doing things. I said, but you did something. You hurt me. And I let it all out. And he was like, and then I'm crying. And he's like, oh, wow, I've never heard you cry before. And I can't believe that I'm part of it. And so since that day, we've texted every single day. Like, I love my father, but I really love my father now. Like, I can text my father, I can call him, so I can relate to you, Naya, because I'm like, oh, yeah, I gotta talk to my father. And, or if he doesn't send me a message, hey, you know, I didn't hear from you. Or if I don't send him hey, I haven't heard from you, my oldest daughter, I love you very much, and I'm sharing this with you, and I'm not sharing with anybody else. And so we have conversations, and I send information to him so he can keep afloat or whatever, and it feels really good. And I'm trying to explain that to my husband about his daughter, and it's like going in one ear and out the other. Like, intentionality is really real. Like, you really need to, even if she says, I just don't want to, still do it, because you need to make sure that you are building a relationship. Because I know how I feel now that my father he listened to me when I said, you hurt me.
So can I ask a question, Sheree? Does your bonus daughter, did your bonus daughter say she would like her father to reach out, or she would like her father to have?
She said she wanted him to be a father. She missed out on having daddy-daughter days and didn't have any of that. And she needs to heal, and she would like to do counseling.
Okay. And so the reason I was asking, because I thought about what Naya said in terms of, we talk about the intentional part, and you're putting that, you're saying your husband needs to do that, but maybe he doesn't have the capacity at that moment to do that. And it's going to fall back on her to do the initiation of it.
And I don't
which is
know,
what Naya was telling me.
and I'm wondering if that, like, I hope it does happen, but I'm not sure if she can. I really think that he needs to be the one that says, you know, he knows that he's hurt her, because they had another conversation and she explained it, that you really hurt me and I need to heal. And so he knows now that she needs to heal. But he needs to be a part of that healing. Like,
So I have 2 questions for you then, Auntie Sheree. So one, does that mean that has he asked her what she needs to heal?
no.
Maybe he needs to start there, and then what capacity can he start on that journey?
So his thing is, well, if I apologize, I apologize. And so you either accept it or not.
Like
Which is
macho man stuff.
wrong,
Just
wrong.
like a man.
He doesn't
That's
understand her hurt. He doesn't understand her hurt. Just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you apologize doesn't mean you showed me things or I didn't see things that have created this hurt. So now you have to show me things that will unhurt this hurt. You know, the same way you made it hurt, you have to the same way make it unhurt.
Right. Right.
He doesn't understand it and he doesn't
he doesn't.
acknowledge it.
He doesn't, because even in relation with my kids, I'm like, oh dang, I just found out that I did something, you know, and I'm apologizing, you know, telling the kids I love them, I apologize, whatever. And you know, he knows I'll get on a flight in a heartbeat. I'm out of here. I gotta go see this person, one of these kids or whatever, my kids or whatever. And he's not like he's close to all of his kids except one. One lives out of state, and he's close to the other kids. And he doesn't bother. It's like he doesn't make an effort to go down and see the kids and the grandkids. And I'm like, hey, you like right here. I gotta fly, go see any of my parents or some of my kids. And he's not. So I keep praying for them, hopefully that, but I can see it. I really saw it yesterday. Like I could really see and feel her pain.
There's humbly there. He has to humble himself. And that's what's not happening.
Right.
And he's fighting against it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I won't just say men, because women are proud too.
Right.
And I'm not going to do it, you know, or whatever, until they hit the brick wall, God answers a prayer or something. I wanted to ask Kira a question. Your relationship with your dad. Are you guys still close? Do you still talk? Is it easy to pick up the phone and text and so forth and so on?
It's like it's estranged in a way. Like we talk here and there, but it's not much conversation. It's a hey, how you doing, and keep pushing. When I was younger, like I used to see, like growing up, I was with him every other weekend because him and my mom weren't together. So when I got old enough, I stopped wanting to go to his house because it became a habitual pattern of I'm just in the living room all day with the dog, watching TV, playing video games, and then I go home on Sunday. So, or like I go to church with his mom on Sunday morning, and then I go home Sunday afternoon after she cooks dinner. But it became a habitual pattern. It's like, and then it was broken promises, like, oh, I'll take you here. Don't ever go. I can say the running joke I have with my mom is he said every year, oh damn, I want to say since I was in middle school, that he'll take me and my childhood best friend to Six Flags, right? Every time it would come to go to Six Flags, and then what's Six Flags? Hey, probably I want to say last year he mentioned about going to Six Flags again.
No,
my childhood best friend
for 20 years.
My gosh.
He mentioned going again to Six Flags, like, oh, let's go to Six Flags, or it was with my childhood best friend or with some of my older cousins. And in my head, I was like, bro, like we're all old now, like of age, like we don't want to be outside with you, like we want to be turned, you know, you know me, like everybody's parents involved. And then even my cousin too, they's like, yo, I mean, we can go together, but your dad can stay out of the back, like. Yeah, but like it's I would say it's estranged for various reasons. Just like, for instance, too, the way I present and dress myself, I've always been criticized since I was a child with him. So it's just like even more now, like if not, I have a do-rag on because I don't have a haircut, but I have a haircut, right? I've got criticized from him, his wife, and his mother about having my hair cut. I have various tattoos. The way I dress. Listen, I ain't hurting nobody.
That's right.
I'm being me. I'm me, and I'm comfortable with being me.
Right. These are all my choices. And the funny thing too, another running joke is, oh, does your mother know? My mother does know. I live with my mother. She knows, and she doesn't care because I'm of age. So it's just like
you have a relationship with your mom, that she's a part of the decision. So it's not just that you live with her, you know.
It's also the fact that I have a relationship with my mom. That's also
right.
And like I was telling my partner that one time when we first started talking, I was like, do not be offended if you never meet my father, because I would never subject you to what I went through in life to you in our relationship. I would never do that.
Right.
But and she understands that, like, you know, even when it comes to partners, like even the other one, you're probably like, hey, yo, like my family, let me let you know right now. They act like this, they act like that. Please don't get offended. If you do get offended, please let me know. I would mediate and, you know, go on from there. And that's pretty much what's happening. She gets along well with my mom's side of the family. But yeah, I just told, I mean, you know, it's like, hey, I'm not mad at it. It sucks, like, because growing up, you want to have a relationship with your father, but after a while, you try. Hey, I'm respectful. I'm respectful because, you know, I was raised to respect parents, so I'm respectful. But when I feel I am disrespected, I will speak up. Like, because granted, when you're a kid, you can't say much. You can't say like, "Oh, this how you make me feel." Like, because you're gonna be like, "Oh, you're just a kid. What are you talking about?"
Right.
But when you're a well of an adult, I express your feelings properly, I'm gonna speak up, and I have spoken up several times.
Right. And you should be able to. You should be able to. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that myself, whether defending my mother's character, whatever, I've spoken up, and I don't regret speaking up either. Like, I'm glad I spoke up, because like, what you're not going to me.
Just as much as we talked about intentionality, we've also talked about boundaries, and I think that's a really big part also with the blended family. Just going off of what Kira just said, like, you know, when you're younger, you're in a child's place, you're like, I disrespected because I'm not trying to get, you know, in trouble. But when you become of a certain age, you do have to put those boundaries in place. So that could be like a weird space to be in regards to trying to put the boundaries there, but then not trying to be disrespectful. But you are your own person. You're an adult now. And if you won't, you know, speak up and say something, you'll constantly feel disrespected. So that's really big too, like boundaries in addition to intentionality.
Yeah.
My favorite line is say, just be glad I'm not on the street doing drugs or homeless. So
Period.
Right. I'll mention a boundary, and it may or may not be one. Like, so when Naya and Nigel were little, I would take them over to see my mother and my grandmother because they lived together. And y'all know I love my mother and my grandmother profusely. Love them. And love taking Naya and Nigel over there because they like having them around and so forth and so on. I believe I left them there for the weekend so they had fun with Nana and Mima. Cool. Went to go pick them up and brought them back home. Their clothes stunk so bad because they both smoked. I was like, oh my God. I remember emptying the baby bag or whatever, just going, I have to stop this. Like, y'all not gonna stop smoking, but I can't bring them there. And my mother was very mad. I think Nana understood, but my mother was very upset. So I don't think they saw them for a little bit of a time. And then it was more so, y'all come to my house. And when you come to my house, if you want to smoke, you smoke outside, because there were no ashtrays in my house. I'm sorry, there was one ashtray. I think your dad bought it for Mima so that she could take the ashtray outside and smoke. But y'all not gonna be around my kids and all this secondhand smoke things going on and the clothes thing. So that was a boundary. It was hard because, you know, dealing with my mother and my grandmother, but it had to happen. And then we moved on from it. So,
Oh Lord.
okay, one boundary per person. I'm gonna pick Tony Lee. Tony Ann.
A boundary. I think you have to have boundaries with yourself.
Okay.
You know, really in the sense of recognizing where your role plays and what you can handle. You know, what you can and what you can't handle. I do want to just say one thing though. You got to give your dad some kudos for still remembering he wanted to take you to great events.
Years later.
I just want to say, you know, gotta give him a little bit of, you know, he just ain't grasping, you know, but
You still remember.
just give him a little bit of that. But I think that's really important, that it's not putting yourself in the line of fire to be hurt.
Yes.
You know, I think that's a good boundary.
Oh, hey, that's
One
why
boundary.
I was saying, oh Lord, because there's so many boundaries. You heard that sigh, right? Um, I
What's
think
the
I
most
think
effective? The most effective boundary.
the most oh wow, the most effective boundary. I don't even know if it's a boundary or it's more than what Chaplain Lee just said. When you know yourself, when you say when you are able to sit down and say, wait a minute, I'm not feeling well. I'm hurt. Why do I keep accepting this?
Mm.
And when you sit with that and you say, well, why are you feeling angry or why are you feeling resentful? What are those things that's causing that? And you find out that it's because I'm not standing up for myself. Now, how do I stand up for myself? I have to be able to tell somebody no. I have to be able to tell somebody how I feel. I have to be able to voice it, not just accept it or not accept it by walking away, because that's a way of handling things too. Okay, you don't really address it, but you just don't put yourself in a position to deal with it. And what you have to do is be able to address it so the other person recognizes that you are there, that you exist, and that you have feelings. And once you express it, then it gives you your power. Okay. And then you can say, oh, okay, this feels good. Now I can tell somebody and I won't be rejected if I tell somebody.
Right.
And I had to learn that confrontation is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an assertion. So that we can have different things, but it's the outlook. So I'm thankful, and especially my young ladies here, because you're learning so many things about your feelings and how to express yourself. And I think I'm coming from the latter ends of a generation that wasn't necessarily taught to express yourself and your feelings, especially your feelings. Your thoughts maybe, but not your feelings. We tended to keep it all inside. So kudos.
Yeah.
Which hinders communication, because I know we've been focusing on boundaries and being intentional, but when you have those things, it gives you a place to communicate what's going on and it not come out of a space of hurt. You know, you can say, you know, like I could say to my brother, listen, I need you, you know, but it also puts me in a place of vulnerability as well. We have to be willing to be vulnerable, that I have to say, listen, I need you, you know, because you connect me to my father, you know, so it's not just on their side. We have to sometimes be vulnerable as well.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, Auntie Crystal, I feel like that's good advice just for even besides the whole co-parenting thing and like, you know, relationships with your parents and stuff. I just feel like I'm trying to learn that the older I get, because I just hate confrontation. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. And like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one for me.
It's somebody, and I would say my somebody would be my husband. He says, he reminds me of this. He says, you know, I know it feels uncomfortable because that's all it is. It's uncomfortable.
Right.
But sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's growth in the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
and Miss Kyra, Triple K. No one's asked me why do I call her Triple K.
Why do you call her Triple K?
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Lord, why do you call her Triple K?
Was no one's asking Michelle.
Ku Klux Klan, don't worry. Not the Ku Klux Klan.
Right, it's not the KKK.
Not the
Yeah.
Klan.
I kind of my mind automatically went there. I was like, no,
Not that.
that didn't work.
I might be light skinned, I might be adopted, but it's not that.
No. So when Kira was little, she was a little out there. She would do a lot of little crazy things.
Yeah.
So I coined it Cousin Crazy Kira.
It's crazy cousin Kira. You don't remember your order.
Whatever.
Oh,
It's all the
crazy.
same. Cousin Crazy Kira.
And then also the K's, of course.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
and
All
that's
right.
why I call it Triple K.
Now I
But,
know.
but that's my name for her. No one else can call her that.
Okay.
So, so now you don't even want to extend the name?
No.
No, me only. What I need for you guys to do is when we get off of the Zoom, if you could be so kind to send me a video of yourself saying, "Hey, Auntie." That's all you got to say. Okay. And if you want, I don't know if anybody speaks another language. No, I don't know. For some reason, Shiki, I thought you did, but okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
no.
if you want to say it in another language, you can say it too, but also just, a video of you saying, "Hey, Auntie." Doesn't have to be right now because I know Kira needs a haircut. So after you get your hair did, just kind of remember, or if you want to, if you want to send it now, you can. Okay, I appreciate that. Anything else, Miss Naya? Am I forgetting anything?
No, I wish our conversation could go longer, but we know you have a family event. So
I do, and I'm going to be intentional of not being bothered. I've already prayed about it. I've given it over and I'm fine. Oh, I do want to say something because Shiki, you said something in regards to this man being the man in church and also now being the man you're living in this household.
Yeah.
It made me think of Mimi when you said that. Like, okay.
they don't
this
know
woman-
who that's the daughter. They
I'm
don't
sorry.
know who he is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mimi is Jean's daughter.
Uh,
So it went from, and I could stop recording this part, right? Do we need anything else? I'll edit
They
it.
leave it. We may edit it. Ma'am, just talk.
She's getting on my nerves. It went from, this lady comes every couple of months and visits, and now she's living here. And even though we gave a year time frame, when I moved to Vegas, I had my own place and I would visit the house from there to there. We tried to do things together, so forth and so on. So we were trying to get her acclimated to everything. And yes, the wedding happened. She was happy. She had a dress. She was this. We got her hair done, nails done. We did all of that.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh snap, this lady's moving in. And a little bit after that is when it was like, being happy, nice, and everything. To I don't like you. And I was sitting here going, but what did I do? And I'm trying intentionally trying to not be her mom. Because I'm not here to replace that. That's not what I wanted to do. But I'm here just to be a woman figure in the house if you want to talk about something that you can't talk about to your dad or your brothers. So anyway, I'm going to be intentional to not be upset today.
You got this.
I
How
got
old
it.
You got this.
Wait.
How old was Mimi when this happened?
16?
Yeah, I was going to say that plays a big
Yeah.
role. All of those hormones and emotions going on. Woo.
It's also how you introduce it and stuff like that. Like, granted, she had a minute to introduce herself to the daughter and acclimate herself. In my case, I did meet my dad's wife when I was 16. But it's kind of like what you guys are saying. She was somebody in my father's church that allegedly I met before, that day in my life, and she was a deaconess, and now she is. So it's just like, okay, so is it the church stunt? Like, you trying to be like first man? Like, what are you trying to do? Because long story short, her uncle is the pastor of the church they go to. So it's like inherited, like grandfather was like the head pastor. When he passed away, the son picked it up and stuff like that. So it's just like, are y'all really married for love? Are you trying to inherit church? It is a church. It is, we love God, but I don't want nothing to do with that because you're not going to drag me into nothing. That's not what intention.
That's right.
I'm like that.
That could be it too, Ma. I never thought about it from that perspective. Kira's saying is like, Mimi could have the battle in her own mind of like, what's your intentions? Like, what are you really here for? What are you trying to get out of this? And are you going to deprive me from it? Of course, I know that you're not. Yeah. But from her point of view, it's like, okay, I used to be the only girl, the only female in that. And now I have to share my role with another female. This is weird. And then on top of that, Tony Ann is absolutely right. 16 years old, which we've talked about before, but 16, you wanted to kill me at 16-year-old, and you both 13. You was dead, bro. 16, she wanted to kill me, y'all. Both. However, like that's a really touchy time to be going through so many changes, and then what happened with her mom and so forth and so on. Like that's just a lot of emotions that clearly she had no outlet or maybe felt no support on letting those things out, especially knowing, you know, how her and Jean's relationship is. So she's another one who may need Jean to ask, like, how do you need to heal? Like, what do you need to heal? To the next part. And in addition to maturity, she's going to go through life. And granted, she could have had you as a support because you've gone through it before, just as you've been my guide. But at the same time, she's just going to have to go through life. Some of us got to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way too. She may just have to learn the hard way, and then she'll come back around when the maturity sets in and really matters set in.
That's the question I wrote. A great night too. Tonight could be the night of change.
It could be the night.
Amen. How old is she now?
How old is she now?
She'll be 21 in December.
Yeah, I agree with Naya. I just feel like, man, she just gotta live her life and
find out the hard way. We gotta bump
learn the hard way. Yeah,
I was trying not to let her hit her head.
Yeah,
but I
did
write that question down for Jean. I'm sorry, Michelle. I did write that question down for Jean to ask her that because that's a good segue for him, you know, and to continue to build their relationship. I'm sorry, Michelle. What did you just say?
No, I was just saying that I also feel like it's never too late. Like even as hard as it seems right now, like. It's never too late to like turn it around. And I feel like me and my sister growing up, we were not close. But now that we're both adults, like just having gone through life, I just feel like, yeah, she's young. She's young, you know.
She'll come around. Plus we praying. So, you know, God's going to answer eventually. I know I'm supposed to be
sorry, because I know you got to go. Because I would just say stay consistent too, because you don't ever want any of your actions to become a part of that self-fulfilling prophecy for her to be like, see, now that's why. And everything that I thought you played it out. And then she'll add that to her own bucket of reasons to keep that wall up. If I'm consistent in who God wants me to be on my own, he'll re-navigate that over there.
Yeah. And y'all know me. I'm always consistent. Yeah. But I wanted to say, where your girls? What'd you say, Night? See, she's starting with me again, guys.
Oh, yeah. She's saying that she doesn't know you. So we've had the pleasure of knowing you. She doesn't know you. She had to put herself in a predicament to get to know you genuinely. So, tonight, you never know.
Amen. Well, I want to talk about the girls real quick. They've been very quiet, Shaquella. Where are they?
I told them they're coming. Come here.
She said I told them.
They were playing in the park earlier, so they look like.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop recording because we don't want to show the girls on the thing.
Okay.
Hi.